Hey everybody, Jimmy here with the Triple C Collective on this Superhero Saturday. Today we're going to be diving into Peacemaker, Episode 3, Better Goff Dead. This episode was really great. I really enjoyed it. After watching Episode 1, 2, and 3, or at least like doing these videos, releasing it once a week, um, I get why after watching this episode why they released the first three at first. Um, and then they started, and then they do the release of one episode per week thereafter. I think I don't know if this show would have gotten the acclaim that it kind of did going week to week. It would have gotten there because obviously it was still really good. Um, but like it was a rough beginning. That first episode was really rough. I almost think that you could have just gotten rid of that and literally just kind of started from the second episode on. Um, but that's just my opinion. But this episode was really great. It opens with a really great homunculus and homunculi conversation, which is just something that I just wasn't really expecting to see in DC or the show Peacemaker or anything like that. Like you would expect a conversation like that if it's gonna come up with like in like Justice League Dark kind of stuff or like those kind of characters and like creatures and whatnot. Um, so this episode opens up with that. It's they are clearing out of when I say they, the Peacemaker team is clearing out of their HQ to go on to a to go on to a mission to go to the Goff residence. We find out that the Goff residence is the senator that they've been talking about, who they believe to be a butterfly. They leave the HQ, go head there. Right before they, right before they leave, they have Vigilante pop out from behind like the trash can and stuff, and that's really funny. Vigilante's really weird. Vigilante's such a weird character because if you're a fan of like the CW or the Arrowverse shows like there, then you saw Vigilante before. We've seen Adrian Chase before. And they are vastly different characters, which is great. I'm not saying that like, hey, just because like Arrow did it, that's the way Vigilante always needs to be. I was just expecting something a little bit closer to that because I thought that was like the quote unquote like I thought that was just closer to like what the comics accurate like version of Vigilante is, but you know what we got here is great. Again, the actor who plays Vigilante was the same guy who played McLagan or whatever in the Harry Potter movies. He's really great. He's really awesome. He's a British dude. He's got a great American accent. So yeah, Vigilante has been a big player for me in liking this. Danielle Brooks's Leota Adebayo character. She's my favorite by far. Amelia Harcourt, I believe, is played by Jennifer Holland. She is fantastic as Harcourt, as Amelia Harcourt. Her and Danielle Brooks are like my two favorite of this whole show. And then we've got, I think it's Chudwick Iwuji as Mern. He's fantastic. He's so good. This episode was really great. I really enjoyed it. Vigilante pops out from behind the like garbage dump or the dumpster, the trash can, whatever, and is just kind of like popping out, and him and Harcourt kind of get into it, going like a verbal battle back and forth and stuff. It's really great. This is kind of where like a lot of the sternness and a lot of like I don't I don't know. It kind of seemed like this is where, for me watching it, like this episode showed like the real fun in this show. Um, and like it starts like with some of this little stuff here, like uh, we get the like I said, we get Vigilante popping out. They have the homunculus conversation. Peacemaker tells them because at the end of episode 2, we get Peacemaker with Amber and Vigilante, and the shit or the little device that Peacemaker has that he took from the woman's apartment turned into that little ship. Um, and so it, while they while they were laying in bed, he tells about the tiny ship. We also get John Steve Agee, or no, this was from Peacemaker. Sorry, Steve Agee last episode told us about Batmite, and then Peacemaker tells us here about Dollman, which is crazy. I love that James Gunn is just throwing in all of these different random DC Universe, like comic universe polls of just being like, oh yeah, they're here. I would love nothing more than to somehow see Batmite show up. Like I'm still hoping to somehow happens. Um, Downman I would like to see as well, but I think Batmite would just be great to see. Oh my god, I think that would be so cool. But again, Vigilante killing or Vigilante coming out around the trash can, going back and forth with Harcourt, and then Vigilante brings up this is where we really kind of start leaning into like, or at least the show kind of starts leaning into the question of like, is Peacemaker really a good or a bad guy? We kind of seen that he Peacemaker, John Cena's character Chris Smith, is having some internal conflict about like the vow he's taken, like like he he's kind of, was Rick Flag right? Peacemaker, what a joke, like as you know, as Rick Flag was dying. And so like we kind of start getting in this episode a little bit more of those questions from Peacemaker to himself, and they kind of start exploring this. And one of the first things is that this like question and this exploration comes from is from Vigilante saying that like, dude, there's rumors that you're racist. Like, isn't your dad the White Dragon, like the dude who runs the Aryan Brotherhood in this area? Like, yeah. So like they kind of call him out, and he's like, no, he just like he's always trying to defend him. He's just his dad. Then we get Vigilante ends his whole thing. He's like, I mean, I mainly kill white people, so like I don't even like I know I'm not racist, but like I'm getting like people are starting to think I'm racist because of you, Peacemaker. It's starting to make me look bad and stuff just by knowing you by association and whatnot. Then we get the really awkward title sequence. The song is great. I actually really like the choreography dance. It's the lack of expression on people's faces in it that is so off-putting. Um, like I don't know, I don't know. It's just off-putting for me. I don't get it. They freak me out. But it is weird, the facial, like the lack of facial expressions, but it is fun. It is like good. It's very well like choreographed. I really like the song and everything, so it just works. Then we get the like traveling peacemaker people, like his people, his team, traveling in the van, getting on their way to the Goff residence to stake it out and definitely take out Goff, the father, the senator, but they don't know about the rest of his family. while they're traveling in there, Peacemaker is saying like, oh, like believing into all the dumb propaganda that you can fall into on the internet, like climate change is a hoax. No, it's a real thing. Then like this is actually a really great conversation because Peacemaker is saying that global warming is and climate change is a lie due to like the internet, Facebook, Google, whatever. He says is there, and then we've got Danielle Brooks's Leota Adebayo's character being like, "Oh yeah, it's also the same people that are saying that pro wrestling isn't or that pro wrestling isn't fake, that that's real as well, are also the same people that are disputing climate change being real." And it was just it's a funny joke. It is a funny back and forth, and as of right now, it also seems that really the only person that Peacemaker Christopher Smith will like allow to kind of like make a joke like that, challenge him a little bit, is actually Danielle Brooks's Leota's character, Leota Adebayo's a character, which is really interesting that she just like has struck like her character just strikes the right nerve with him to like be able to go kind of tick for tat and stuff with them. It's really great. Like I said, this episode was really different. I really liked it a lot more than any of the previous ones. John Cena's also like he throws out Facebook lying to me, like outlining to me every day, and then Adebayo shows her not safe for work picture that shows up from WhatsApp app because her and her wife, she says, are living in different places right now, and they're trying new ways of intimacy, and it's a really funny, really awkward scene, and it's just great. Like the everything just works in it. It was very funny. You felt like I don't know. It was very funny. It just worked. And with that being so funny and working, looks like we're getting some storms. But with that, they have a really great conversation about like, I didn't know WhatsApp would just put this on here, and Steve Agee's character of John Economos is like, yeah, if you don't change the settings, it'll just do that, and she's like, I know that now. It's really great. Peacemaker is again like having a crisis of faith about having to kill these kids because in the senator he may have to. The senator they know for sure is a butterfly. They don't know about the wife or the kids. They don't know if they're gonna have to take out the kids, and this is one of those things where Peacemaker like again kind of has that crisis of faith about his vow. He loves peace. He wants to. Doesn't matter how many men, women, or children he has to kill to get it or keep it. So now he's starting to see like I don't know, like if they don't really deserve it. I have a hard time with like being like, oh yeah, we got to have them on the list. So we finally see like this change, this adjustment that he's making, and when I say he, I mean Peacemaker in his life and stuff. He does make a bunch of jokes about children of corn, not sure if they're butterflies. He also talks about the difference between regular babies and what he was led to believe as butt babies. But still, the Peacemaker team is still very, very resilient on telling Peacemaker what butterflies are. And I don't necessarily. I mean, well, no, I know why, because he would probably let it slip, like whatever the butterflies are, whatever the big secret is around them. He would 100% let that slip to somebody who would then let it slip to like media, and it would be just the downward spiral there. So I guess I get that. Um, Once they finish this conversation, they start unload. They arrive to the Goff house. They start unloading the van, and like Peacemaker and Harcourt go off uh, in their place together to go like start scoping things out. Vigilante goes with them. Myrn and John start setting up surveillance, and Leota Adebayo is, I think she's working a computer. Uh, and Peacemaker is also complaining about the dove or the lack of a dove of peace on his sniper that he has to shoot with. He says it's on all of his weapons. He needs it on his weapons. He he is handed a marker by Leota, and she is just like, "Here, just put it on yourself." And he's like, I can't do it. I always when I'm not a drawer. Whenever I do it, it always looks like a ghost, and it doesn't look awful. The dove of peace that John Cena draws onto this like weapon doesn't look awful. Doesn't really look like a dove, but I wouldn't call it a ghost either. So, um, but then we also get Myrn and John talking with each other, trying to say that they need to get Peacemaker to stop asking so much questions. They need Peacemaker to kind of feel that he belongs. And like, this is while Myrn is drilling into a tree, setting up different cameras that John will like operate and look around on the perimeter with and stuff. Then we get a really great little bit here about Myrn himself. And what we learn here about Myrn himself is that he's done things that make him sad. He's trying to atone for his past. He's never really felt feelings, never really shared feelings with anyone previously. He makes a really quick snap saying that like, I'm some weak ass girly man who needs a Will Blanky John. And he does Chudwick a Ouija. He is so great. He is so good, and like just like snaps in it, and like he has been thrilling to watch as like an actor. And like I just really want to see, because I know that he was like kind of a created character for the show. I believe, I don't think that the character of Myrn really has any kind of DC like comic really history. I could be wrong on that, but as far as I know, I'm pretty sure he was that character. Myrn was a completely original character from James Gunn for the show. But Myrn continues to say that he wants to become like a more deeper, well-rounded person due to like doing these new explorations, sharing feelings, and trying to atone for the bad things that he's done in the past. This is a little weird because it seems like such a change for like who we've kind of seen Myrn be. He's always been very stern and like kind of, I don't know, he's always kind of seemed a little bit intimidating, and this is one of those weird things where he's actually being kind of vulnerable and opening up. And I don't know, I thought it was weird, but I can only hope that what he is saying is true, is that he's really trying to get himself better, and like, you know, trying to atone for the things that he did not like that he did. They get to Then we get the Goff house camp out. We get Peacemaker and Harcourt are sharing some snacks. We see John Cena's Peacemaker, Christopher Smith, go through some snacks that um, Harcourt put into his hand, and he starts putting them back into her hand or back into the bag, and he's like, empty calories, so I'm not gonna eat them, and he eats all the good stuff, if you will. Leota, John, and Myrn are all in the van talking about the Berenstain Bears, which is an awesome conversation. I will not repeat it necessarily because I got nobody to bounce it off of, but it's a great conversation, and it's not Berenstain Bears, like the author, which is something that everyone, I guess, is always said wrong. I have said it wrong, so that was interesting to see this here. It was a great conversation though, because as much as they're supposed to be on a black ops team, I don't know, that just felt like something that could happen, and it definitely felt very natural for Danielle Brooks's character to bring something like that up and talk about something like that. It was all just so really, really great. Then we get a cut back to Peacemaker and Harcourt, and they're talking about how their families, mainly their dads, got them into the kind of line of work that they do. Um, and they talk about that. They also notice that the family pulls up, gets into the house, and once they're inside the house, Peacemaker couldn't pull his shot on the dad because they get inside and the bodyguard was in front of the dad. They don't know though if the family's demeanor changes once they get inside the house. That family's demeanor changes. They don't know if the rest of the family are butterflies. They for sure know the dad is, and now they're suspicious of the mom and the kids. Um, and Peacemaker's still mad about the dove. That's why he's also saying that he didn't take the shot. Um, and now Harcourt is also saying over the radio yet again, so that everybody can hear, we're not Amanda Waller. We're going to wait and make sure that they are that everyone is a butterfly before we just take them out. We don't just kill people willy nilly just because we can. We make sure that they deserve to die. It's basically what they're getting at. And Leota, she looks kind of hurt from that because Amanda Waller's your mom. Spoilers in case if you actually didn't watch the first episode, but that is kind of something that we get there. And then that's also then once they see the family get in there, start acting weird. Peacemaker, Harcourt share their information about the dads, how they the type of guns that they grew up on. Harcourt had a lot of gun for a little girl. Harcourt said that she was a lot of little girl for a gun. Waller found her in Argus after working in CIA and a bunch of other government agencies. Vigilante followed in his Vigilante mobile, or the Sebring, as Peacemaker keeps calling it. We get the Berenstain Bears photo. John and Myrn are kind of in denial about that. John totally is. It's really funny that she proved him wrong on that. It's so good. It's a great little bit, and it's something really nice to kind of work against the tension that they're trying to build here a little bit. I don't know. I just really liked it. And this is where John, Peacemaker again didn't take the shot out on the bodyguard. The family, when they walked away, they started walking away in a straight line following the father. They come back in different clothes into the dining room with bowls of some sort of like, looks like honey in there. Myrn freaks out. Myrn hears this from Harcourt right away. It's like, take them out. They're all butterflies, even the kids. We get this weird hand tentacle thing that pops out of their mouth and just starts slurping up like the honey looking stuff that they have in there, in their bowls. And Myrn is still freaking out, like, take them out, Peacemaker, take them out. We need you to kill them. We need you to take them all out. Peacemaker chokes hard. He can't take out any of them. He doesn't take out the wife, doesn't take out any of the kids, doesn't take out the senator. Vigilante comes in, takes them all out. He's humming. It's actually a really kind of sick and sadistic kind of thing, because Vigilante is just like do 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 and just like humming his own little like tune or whatever as he's taking out the wife, taking out the two kids. Harcourt's confirming their kills, or at least that Vigilante's shooting them. And then that is when, once Vigilante is about to take out the last one, and when I say the last one, the senator, that is when Vigilante is attacked, and Harcourt and Peacemaker, they are all attacked by Judo Master. Now, we saw Judo Master earlier when the family was getting dropped off, and Judo Master is smaller than the tall bodyguard. The quickest way I can describe him is Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito in Twins. Other than that, there's a bodyguard that's really tall. Judo Master's really short, but he's also like a superhero, or a cape as they were calling him in previous episodes, where Judo Master wears a mask and he has like an outfit on himself and everything like that, similar to like Peacemaker's kind of suit and stuff like that. Judo Master and his ki, like his convergence of energy, destroys them. Beats up Peacemaker, beats up Vigilante, knocks out, like, throws Harcourt enough that like she like cracks her head and is like dazed and is like knocked out for like a minute. Harcourt is eventually rescued by Leota. Leota chokes on pulling the trigger to a gun on the big bodyguard. Harcourt ends up pulling the trigger, killing that bodyguard. Leota's streak is still okay. Harcourt has a big problem with like Leota not being able to take that shot and not doing it. Right, and the Harcourt Leota is then talking also to Harcourt some more, like, oh my god, I've never killed anyone. Well, you still haven't. I've never shot anyone. You still have a clean streak on that. My heart's beating like super fast, like 1,000 miles a minute. Like, is your heart beating? Yes, otherwise I'd be dead. Is like the joke. Like, Harcourt isn't necessarily happy with Adebayo at this point, Leota Adebayo. What needed her to take a shot and she couldn't, she choked. And then we get a cut to the basement of the Goff house. It's like very clearly a dungeon-y type thing, so we don't necessarily know where they are, but it is we come to find out that they are in the basement of the Goff house, in like a little makeshift dungeon that they have. And Peacemaker, Vigilante are all tied up in chairs. You got Judo Master that's like sitting around there just eating chips in there, like waiting for either Peacemaker or Vigilante to wake up. uh, Goff starts like the process of like getting ready to raise Vigilante and start like the torture process that he wants to do to extract information from Peacemaker and Vigilante about why are they there, how did they find out about them, things like that. Um, and the best part of the start of the Judo Master Goff like torture stuff is Peacemaker sees Judo Master eating flaming hot Cheetos. Judo Master starts flicking them with his finger at Peacemaker and like basically is like shooting little bullets at him. Not bullets, but like little rocks at him at that point. And it's great. It's so good. I love the character of Judo Master. It's I love the green little like dragon outfit that like he has like with the masked Judo Master. It's awesome. But him flicking those flaming hot Cheetos at Peacemaker is just so good. It's just so funny. Then we also see Mern, John, Leota, and Harcourt kind of reconvene. John is out in the van still doing watching surveillance while Leota and Mern and Harcourt enter the house and start walking around the house looking for, John Cena's Peacemaker, Christopher Smith, and Vigilante. Mr. Goff brings out his tools, unmasks Vigilante. Vigilante starts changing his face and looking all kinds of crazy like this because if he moves his face, as he says, Peacemaker won't be able to figure out who he is if he continues to distort his face and like contort his face like that. It's so good. But one thing that Goff says is that he does send, before he starts like torturing Vigilante and start like asking Peacemaker, he says, Judo Master, go to Glen Tao and tell them what's happened here and let them know. So Judo Master goes off out like a little passageway or whatever from the basement, and he goes to go deliver this message from Goff. The Peacemaker team are going through the house above. Adebayo is having a really tough time seeing those dead bodies. Like, you can tell, like, the face that she's making is like, oh, wow. Like it's really starting to hit her and, like, sink in on her of, like, everything that, like, she's a part of now. The good and the bad. Because you could tell that Adebayo, she seems to be at least enjoying being a part of this team, not necessarily the work. And this is one of those things where like she looks pretty shook from it, as rightfully so. This is when, as they're walking through the house during this time, or this portion of the walkthrough, Harcourt finds out that there's a basement, that they now need to find the entryway into the basement. Adebayo does find the entryway into the basement, revealing this big bubble-looking thing to go down a hallway that looks like basically green kryptonite. Looks like kind of like the contortion of like Captain America's shield, just in green over this doorway made of kryptonite. That it's a weird looking like green rock crystal type thing. Given that it is the DC universe, I can only assume that it's some form of like kryptonite or whatever, but I don't know. The Vigilante torture stuff is pretty wild. Peacemaker's not for sale, so Vigilante just continues to get shocked Eventually, dull blades are used to try and cut off Vigilante's baby toe by Goff and by Senator Goff, and it's hilarious because Vigilante is not happy about it. Vigilante is like screaming in pain, and all of this is freaking is so freaking wild. Uh, like Vigilante, like the guy who plays McLagan, his performance in this portion and stuff is really good. He is so good. He has been probably, if Danielle Brooks is my favorite, he could be tied for second with Jennifer Holland. I believe her name is Jennifer Holland, who plays Amelia Harcourt. Those two might be tied for second for my favorite characters in this show. And I just love seeing good stuff. They really let like the guy who plays Peacemaker just have fun and like just kind of go off the rails here, and it's so cool. It's so great. Eventually, Leota, Myrn, and Harcourt try and blow up the Green Rock. Myrn hands Leota Adebayo an explosive that you can just stick to it. Adebayo licks it at first, thinking that it's like an envelope adhesive that will like stick it together. Like you gotta lick it like an envelope, basically. And Myrn's like, why did you don't need to do that, just stick it on there. So they stick it on there and they go take for cover, and then it's like, it's almost like the Joker gag from The Dark Knight. He's pushing the button to blow up the hospital and it doesn't blow up, and you see him, he's like looking around, he's pushing it, and then it blows up. Well, that's kind of what we get here. We get Myrn trying to see, or trying to blow it up. We get John seeing Judo Master escaping, like going to the Glen Tao place, getting into a car, or heading to the Glen Tao place in a car. We get Peacemaker finally recognizes Vigilante as Adrian Chase, Gut Chase's younger brother. John sees Judo Master get in the car and start driving. Vigilante almost loses the toe due to the dull blades. Myrn, Leota, and Harcourt are almost kind of blown up due to the delayed explosion by Myrn, because they're all hiding behind couches. Myrn pushes a button, nothing happens. Pushes the explosion, like the button to make it explode, nothing happens. He's kind of looking at his phone and he walks a little bit closer to it, and then the whole thing blows up. All of the rock, Myrn gets tossed back into the corner. It's actually a really great explosion. It's a really great explosion. Myrn gets tossed around like a rag doll in it. Harcourt and Leota Adebayo are fine because they're behind a couch there. And from the explosion, Peacemaker's freed, goes after Goff. John crashes the van into Judo Master's car. And oh man, was that cool. That was effing crazy. John crashing the car into Judo Master. Judo Master then being all messed up, barely crawling out of it. And John beating Judo Master over with like a crowbar. Something out of like the Joker from like the Joker with Jason Todd beating or like killing Jason Todd before he got resurrected as the Red Hood. Like, oh man, crazy brutal stuff. But Peacemaker goes after, like I said, was going after Goff, gets the better of Goff, gets a shotgun from Goff and blows Goff's head off. like Peacemaker actually has a really great line. He's like, "Peace out, mother effer," and then shoots him in the face. Ah, it's so good. It's so good. John takes like I said, John took the tire iron beat. Judo Master, it kind of looked like he killed Judo Master, but I've got a hard time believing that. We see Judo Master in the title sequence of every single episode so far. And whether we see people a whole bunch or a whole little in episodes, if they're in the title sequence, we continually see them. Again, whether it's in big bits or small bits, we continually see them. And so I don't really think that John actually killed Judo Master here, but he could have. Peacemaker, John Cena, he gets Vigilante. I kind of talked about this, like the Vigilante of the Arrowverse being way different than the Vigilante we see here. At first, I thought it. Not that it annoyed me, but I was just like, wow, this is like super different. I found it very shocking, is what it was. And not a good or a bad shocking, just shocking. And he's really grown on me. The guy who plays McLachlan, he's really grown on me. He's really good. He's great as Vigilante. So yeah, I'm in. He's been very, very good. In this, it's just so weird seeing the comparison from like who you kind of get the idea of like what Vigilante and Adrian Chase should be or kind of is in like the Arrowverse, and then getting this like very drastic contrast. It's great. I love it. But more importantly, we find out what a butterfly is. Spoilers, people. We find out what a butterfly is. And a butterfly is a little insect alien looking creature type thing that is living inside Goff's head that was controlling him. Yeah. Controlling him from the inside. Or at least I can only assume it was controlling him because it was up in his brain and like it was like kind of living there. So I can only assume that it was controlling him, or that that the butterflies like control the host and all of that. But like Peacemaker, it dawns on Peacemaker as the creature comes out of Goff's head and it looks like a butterfly. He's like, huh, Project Butterfly. Then we get a cut to John Ikamos, his character dancing over the knocked out and like beaten up Judo Master. We get the computer inside the van because John is clearly outside doing his little dance. We get the computer showing that there are butterflies all over the world possible. It says suspected butterflies throughout the world in the computer, and that's just wild. It's a great little like last little bit basically ending to see of like how it was a great way to end the episode. I loved this episode. Episode 3 is what makes me in on this show. I really loved episode 3. Episode 1, very put off on. I think if I ever go back and rewatch this series, I still think I might skip episode 1. Or if I do watch it, anytime White Dragon, Robert Patrick's character is on screen, just skipping right over anything that dude needs to say. Episode 2 and 3 is really where they started to make a real change, in my opinion, of the show, and really kind of started making the show very interesting and very good, again, in my opinion. Episode 3 has been a lot of fun. Episode 2 was more fun than 1, but as 2 to 3, and I can only hope 3 to 4 and so on till the end of the season, that they all grow and they all become a little bit better and better and better. But again, I'm shocked for how much I really disliked that first episode, and from where that first episode was to where we are in episode 3, like I now understand why they released all 3 episodes at once, or the first 3 episodes at once, and why they gave us that release that way. I'm also very excited. The I'm also very excited to see more of just the season of like what they're doing. Like James Gunn came up with like a pretty wacky idea so far. Like I'm excited to see like more of like what butterflies are. They're some sort of creature. So I'm kind of leaning on alien unless there's something like created by like Lex Luthor in like a LexCorp lab. I don't know. But the post credit scene was the vigilante Peacemaker hardcore little powwow that they have outside of the Goff residence. You get Harcourt telling Vigilante, if you blow this mission, I'll kill everyone in your family. Vigilante just laughing it off, thinking, "Ha, you're a little too late for that. I already did it." Was pretty wild, and I love these little like post-credit scenes that seem to be either extended or alternate takes from something that was actually like used in what we saw in the episode. So all of these things have been like really great with that. Then they also gave us a the season preview, like what to expect later this season, and we get confirmed in this season preview that the butterflies are aliens. They talk about an alien invasion in it, so it's 100% aliens, and I am 100% in on this show now. I really like it. It was a rough, rocky start at first, but it's really righted its ship for me. I have really enjoyed this. Again, my name is Jimmy Clark. We are the Triple C Collective. Thank you for joining us on Superhero Saturday for Peacemaker Season 1, Episode 3, Better Goff Dead. Stay safe. Thank you.